Hello, everyone. My name is Monica Kretschmer, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Universal Women's Network, Women of Inspiration Awards, and this is the Woman Driving Change panel. So we're very excited today. Of course, we have our youth ambassadors on the panel today. We have Sophia Fairweather, Baloo Adefemi, and Kaya Gamble. Now, at the beginning of the year, we are driving change with our youth by a peer-to-peer panel and role model talk. So monthly we meet, we gather information, we have Sophia, our moderator, lead the peer-to-peer, and we also have a performance by one of our youth ambassadors. So today, Kaya Gamble will be kicking us off with her very own Speak Out song. Kaya.
Thank you so much, Monica. Hi everybody, my name is Kaya Gamble, as Monica said, and this is my original song, Speak Out, my single. I released it onto all streaming platforms in December, so if you wanted to check out the recorded version, please feel free to do so. It would mean so much. This is Speak Out. I wish I could be with you every second of every day, but that's not how it works around here. Your smile, it lifts me up, keeps me going, but I can never show it. Will you say it? Will you say nay? Will you say thanks, but I'm okay? Will you say go away? Will you say stay? Will you say yes? Will you say no? Will you say why don't you just go? And then I'll be all alone. I can't seem to get the words out of my head and into the air between us. Now it's just a moment of fear and trust. Will you say it? Will you say nay? Will you say things, but I'm okay? Will you say go away? Will you say stay? Will you say yes? Will you say no? Will you say why don't you just go? And then I'll be all alone. Speak out. Speak out. What would you say? What would you say? Oh, I seem to long for you, but I've waited too long to tell you. That's why I wrote this song for you. I don't know how else to reach you. Will you say yay? Will you say nay? Will you say thanks, but I'm okay? Will you say yes? Why don't you just go? Speak out, speak out, speak out. Out. What would you say? What would you say? Speak out. Speak out. Come on now. I wish I could be with you every second of every day. Thank you.
Well, congratulations, Kaya. I moved every time you sing that song, and I have to say what I'm so delighted to see is how you've been scaling and growing, and your voice has been becoming stronger and stronger every time you sing. And I get goosebumps because I know that you work so hard at it. And each and every one of you ladies on the panel today are incredibly gifted and talented, and you're driven and you're driving your own change in your own communities, in your own networks, within your families. Like, I am so proud to be with you all on this call and have the opportunity, Sophia, for you to lead this panel, because you are the future leaders driving the change. And I just want to do a little plug here and go, how does it feel to be part of this epic project? We've just released, of course, the Women of Inspiration, Women Driving Change book, and it's a collection of the stories of 100 women aged 12 to 100. And so, Baloo, Kaya, Sophia, your wisdom in here is incredible. How does it feel, Sophia, to be in this book?
Well, obviously, I'm super honored to be in it, and I actually made sure that the minute the book came out that I would be able to get it, and I think it came out so amazing, and I am really happy that I could be a part of it. So obviously, I'm super proud, and it's an amazing thing to be part of a book with so many insanely incredible people in it. And, sometimes there are definitely moments where I experience an imposter syndrome, which I am sure at least all of us or some of us have experienced at some time in our life. But when I see this book, I really do realize, and it helps lift me up and makes me realize that I have done some pretty incredible things, and I can keep doing incredible things. So to sum it up, I'm really happy I got the chance, and it's an amazing thing to be part of.
Well, thank you, Sophia. You raised a really important point, and I think that's why we're having those conversations with the youth is, making it accessible, inspiring other leaders, but talking about things like talking about how to build confidence, how to just go for your dreams, and, how to get over that fear sometimes, right? And also celebrating your successes, like each and every one of you should be doing. So I am super, super pleased to see your voice represented, especially, we are now into, I think you were Woman of Inspiration 2017. At 8 years old, you stepped onto that stage and you owned that stage, and it's been a joy to watch you grow ever since. So congratulations. And then Baloo, 2020 Woman of Inspiration, Youth Excellence. You've done amazing things in the past year. You are performing, you're writing your own songs. Again, driven, sky's the limit, Baloo. How does it feel to be involved in the book?
It feels amazing. Honestly, I feel like the only word to describe it is like a dream come true. Because, obviously when you're a kid, you want to be like in a music video, you want to have, like be in a book. It's just, I think it's really, really cool. And I'm really grateful for this experience. And it's even better because I'm surrounded with, a lot of people who have amazing stories, who are there to encourage you and spread wisdom. And I think it's just amazing. I love it.
Awesome. Well, we are so proud to have you a part of it, Baloo, and we look forward to what we can do to elevate our youth in the Eastern Canada and the Western Canada and all over the world, because you three leaders are just driving a lot of change. Kaya, 2019 Woman of Inspiration, Youth Excellence. Of course, you stepped out onto the stage with Woman of Inspiration in 2018. And I think that was just the year that actually you stepped out onto your own stage, wasn't it, within your school? And since then, it was one step ahead of each other, and you've continued to soar. But this is a big milestone celebration. How does it feel?
It's incredible. It's remarkable. It's hard to believe that I'm in a book surrounded by so many influential and amazing people. And it's just such an honor, and I'm so humbled that my story gets to be shared amongst these people like Sophia and Baloo and yourself as well, Monica. So thank you for having me a part of this. I'm so grateful to you.
Well, we're happy to have you a part. And of course, one of the biggest things is we talk about role models and the importance of role models. And so, empowering youth is important. I skipped a question here, ladies, but why is it so important for you all to have and be surrounded by role models to help you on your journey? Sophia.
Well, all the top tier people and all the people like famous musicians, business owners, they all had a role model and they had someone mentoring or helping them and guiding them. For me, Business Link alongside my dad were people that I still view and viewed as role models, and they were amazing and still are amazing, great people to aspire to. And I was really lucky to have them helping me and giving me advice, because having a mentor or guide, for me at least, I have found that it's been really important, because it's so helpful to have someone really trying to raise you up and encourage you and give you feedback and be the second voice there for decisions. It's something really big, and I'm really grateful to them. I wouldn't be where I am today without them. And I can imagine someone without another voice or support other than themselves, along with no one to aspire to, would really struggle. Choked on my spit there. So having access or somewhere to go for people or a person like that who preferably has experience in what you're excited about is really important.
Wonderful. And Baloo, how important is it to have our role models around for your support?
I think it's extremely important as well, as Sophia mentioned. Number one, I feel like sometimes, by yourself, you can get like unmotivated. You think maybe, what if I don't make it, etc. But I feel like having a bunch of role models who've been through it, who understand the challenges and have shined through it and done amazing things, they're supporting you. I just think it's amazing, and it really lifts your spirit up and reminds you that even though you may like go through hard times through whatever you're doing, whether it's like your work, your singing, your interviews, whatever it is, just having people and knowing that there's people that want to support you and just help you and teach you, it's a wonderful feeling, because then you're not alone. So I'm very grateful, as well as Sophia said, and yeah, I'm glad that I met everyone.
Wonderful. And Kaya, role models. I know that you have quite a few mentors and role models. Why is it so important for our youth, and why is it important to you?
Models, I think, are such an important thing because, surrounding yourself with good people who are going to lift you up and inspire you and take you to your best, or introduce you to your best self, but also be honest with you and say, you know what, I feel like you can do this better, or you can do this, but it's all in your best interest. I think that's so important to motivate you and to inspire you and to keep you going, to have a really supportive group of people around you in bad times and in good. And role models are a big part of that. And even if you don't know them, if it's a business leader who maybe is famous but you've never met them, or a singer, like for example for me it might be Alessia Cara, looking up to them and seeing their journey and thinking, that gives you a goal as well, like I want to do this, or that they've done it, sort of says, oh, they've done this, so maybe I can do it too. So I think role models are really important just because they support you and they surround you as a positive influence, and also they're there to help you stay motivated and stay inspired.
And I also want to touch base really quickly on the importance of the peer-to-peer and the support that you have, Sophia, and that peer-to-peer support helping you on your journey. Why is it so important? Because you all are in a position to bring others on this journey with you.
Well, I think it's really important because, well, at least when I was growing up, I didn't see many youth that were going into like business areas and that were really growing to professional level. Without that peer-to-peer and like actually allowing people to see that there are youth going out and building amazing things and going to that professional level, without that, kids and youth don't really know it's possible. So being actually able to see someone that's interested what you're interested in actually at the same age as you is really important to actually show you that it's possible.
And Baloo, why is that peer-to-peer support so important?
I agree completely with Sophia. I feel like it allows us to be role models for other people. And also, I feel like as you're younger, you think that, oh, you can only do certain things when you become an adult. But seeing other people and seeing other kids your age, going into the world, venturing, doing the things they love and following their passions, it just shows you that you're actually able to do what you want to do. And if you just work hard towards it and you focus on it, then you'll actually be able to get there. So I think it's really inspiring for anyone who really looks at it or listens to it. And I also think it can be a real confidence booster, because I think a lot of the time sometimes people don't want to do a certain thing because they're afraid what other people think, especially when you're young. So I think it just reminds you that you're capable of doing what you put your mind to.
Beautiful. And Kaya, why is peer-to-peer so important?
First of all, Sophia and Baloo, you guys make incredible points, and I completely agree with both of you on them. And I mean, also, I think with peer-to-peer support especially is that when you talk to peers who are your age, who are doing things similar to you and who are following their dreams, like Sophia and Baloo and I, and Chloe as well, and Roberta, it really gives you a perspective where you can really relate to them. Like, Bolo and I can talk about singing, and Sophia and I can talk about, the struggles of starting a passion when you're younger and everything, but also the complete joy there is. And again, having kids who are following their passions and doing the same things that adults are doing, maybe even a little better than adults are doing. It's inspiring to see that, and especially for someone who is younger, because it says, I can do that too, just like Sophia and Baloo said.
Wonderful. And I'm going to turn over the panel to Sophia. Of course, that's how we're going to drive the changes. We're going to let our future leaders, drive. You can't drive yet, ladies, but you can certainly drive the panels and the change that needs to happen. So I would like to introduce Sophia Fairweather, who is the founder of Startup by Sophia. You are unstoppable, Sophia. You've got so many amazing things on the go. You are an award-winning STEM, and you've got how many awards? I think there's 8 or 9 different awards that you have that you've collected because you've worked hard. You've achieved great success. You're a board member of AWSN. You're a policy influencer, an entrepreneur, and an innovator. And I do have to say congratulations on your TKS, which is taking that STEM to a whole new level. So Sophia, we're super, super excited to have you moderating the panel today and giving all our viewers a taste of the peer-to-peer jam and role model talk. So I'm gonna let you drive.
Well, thank you, Monica, for the introduction. And yeah, I'm pretty sure there's either like 7 or 9 or maybe 8 awards that I've collected. Probably the one I'm most happy about is the Aztec Award, and it's along with the Women of Inspiration Award. Yeah, it's amazing, and I'm really happy I've gotten them. It's a great achievement. And so I will introduce Bolu and Kaya just real quickly, just a little bio on them. So Bolu Adefemi, also known as Bolu Sings, is 14 years old and is a singer and songwriter from Ontario who makes really good songs about things happening currently in a really good way. Between March and June 2020, she wrote 2 songs on really important issues, including coronavirus and systemic injustice. A little later, she made a song called Make It Right, which has been featured in City TV, CP24 News, and many other platforms that the song absolutely swept up. And 2 new songs that Bolu's actually created is Just Breathe and When Life Changed. And I've been listening to both songs on Spotify and YouTube. However, you can also find them on iTunes, Apple Music, Amazon, and more. And I really recommend that you do. They're amazing songs. And then for my next person is Kaya Gamble, who is 14 years old as well. She's an emerging pop singer, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist based in Calgary, Alberta. Kaya sings in support of charitable causes and has done so at around 40 of them. For one of the times she sang for charity was for hashtag OMGP, or hashtag Oh My Garden Party, in support of adolescent mental health, as well as a concert with Brent Kissel, a Canadian singer and songwriter who even made a song with Walk Off the Earth at his Christmas charity concert in support of veterans at the Jack Singer Concert Hall. Her latest, however, is an event called Kai Live, and you can learn more about it on her social media, and you can see how you can participate in various ways. And her first single is Speak Out, and it is available on all streaming platforms, and it's an amazing song, and I'm listening to it on Spotify and YouTube. Also, on the events, I'm very lucky to be part with her and being able to speak with her at. And with that, I want to thank you both for being with me today, and I'm really hoping that you have had fun so far this month.
Thank you, Sophia.
Yes, thank you so much for the introduction.
Yeah, I'm really happy you could come today. And my first question for you guys for today's panel is, what is your journey? What do you do, and what is the passion that you are currently following? And Bolu, how about you kick us off?
My journey, wow. Okay, so I'm Blue, as mentioned, and I'm a singer-songwriter. And I guess my passion is to write music and to inspire people. You know, on my sweater, like the thing I always say is aspire to inspire. So yeah, I guess that's like my journey and what I'm looking forward to doing.
Yeah, it's definitely a really interesting journey, and you have an absolutely stunning voice from what I've been able to hear. And Kaya, how about you go next?
Well, as Sophia mentioned, I'm a 14-year-old singer-songwriter in Calgary. I've been performing for the past 5 years, and frankly, I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else. I've performed for charitable causes such as teen mental health, cancer awareness, veterans, and many others. And in December, I released my first single called Speak Out. And, you know, it's all about courage and saying what you feel, even though it's hard to do that. It's available, again, on all streaming platforms, but I guess that's my journey. I just want to sing and share my songs with anyone who may need it.
Yeah, you have a really neat story, and it's amazing what you've been able to do with your talent. You've an absolutely stunning voice, as the people heard and listeners heard at the beginning of the panel. It's amazing. You keep getting better. And with that, I will go on to the next question, which is, do you think other youth can go into business areas and make a career for themselves? And I would love to know if you think it's a bad thing or if it's a good thing. And, oh, yes, and Kaya, what would your view on this be? Sorry.
No, it's all good. Well, you know, I believe that youth can do whatever they put their minds to. I mean, look at how many influential young people there are making a difference every single day. For example, Greta Thunberg. When she was 16, she was Time Magazine's Person of the Year. And we certainly have an interesting and fresh view and perspective on the world. So I think to get that perspective from youth is always important.
Yeah, it's a great opinion and view of it. That makes a lot of sense. And how about you, Bolu? What's your view on this?
Yes, I agree with Kaya as well. I think it's important to hear what youth have to say, and I do believe like that they can make a difference and that they can do whatever, as you mentioned, they put their mind to. Because I think really with perseverance and just having a thought or a dream in mind, you can really accomplish anything. And I think it's a great idea because, you know, not only can we grasp some things from people who have come before us, but we can also put our own point of view towards it.
That is a great view and answer from you as well. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that was an amazing answer. And my next question that I have here is, what are some of the biggest barriers that you've had or still have? And how did you overcome or come back from this barrier? Or how are you still working around it or going over this barrier? And Bolu, why don't you go first?
My biggest barrier. I think my biggest barrier, what would it be? It'd probably be just confidence in general. I think sometimes, you know, even though you love something so much, like for me, it's music. I love music. I know Kai, you do too. But sometimes I think it's hard because you think, oh, what will this person think about my song? What will, you know, it can be overwhelming at times. And I think just in order to overcome it is just remember why you're doing it. You know, for me, I think I sing and I write songs to inspire people and to help people through whatever they're going through. And that also helps me as well, knowing I'm helping people. And I just love writing music. So I think it's important to surround yourself with people that, you know, support you, for me, my family, but also don't let, you know, anything else bring you down. So I guess that's kind of the biggest thing that I've struggled with and I'm still working through. But yeah, I think. that's it.
Yeah, it's definitely a barrier that I can imagine a lot of people struggle with and would be a real struggle for anybody. And how about you, Kaya? What would your view on this be, and what's been your biggest barrier?
Well, I'd say my biggest barrier is have to be myself. I know it sounds so cliche, but it's true. I tend to doubt myself a lot, or that little, dark voice whispers in my ear, and a lot of the time I can let it get to me. I tend to be my worst critic, and I've had to fight within myself to say, you know what? That's not true. You have to try to be kind to yourself and, look upon your accomplishments and celebrate those and look upon your failures and learn from them. And like I'm still trying to work on this a lot, but I mean, I'm proud to say that it's getting less and less every day.
Yeah, that is really great, and that's a barrier that I can imagine would be difficult. And yeah, everyone kind of struggles with that from time to time, with either if it's imposter syndrome or just confidence in general. That's definitely a barrier that would come up. And my next question that I have, focusing a little bit more on your guys' future, is at this time in your success in life, if you were to spend more time building more skills, passion, connection, or grit, or etc., which one would you focus on, and how would you pursue it? And oh yes, and Kaya, why don't you go first?
Sure. Well, I mean, Sophia, all of those things, they're so important to build up regardless. But for me right now, in this moment, it would probably be building connections and building skills. I mean, sorry, passion and grit, you're chopped liver for now, but, um, connections are so important in life, whether it's in your career or just in daily life. And especially if you make super valuable and genuine and authentic connections, that'll ultimately help your life be more positive and help your career in the future because you can always build up your list of connections. And for skills, I mean, you can always get better in certain areas of your craft. I mean, like right now, for me, I'm trying to improve my guitar skills. Learning guitar is a bit of a struggle, but working on those skills is really going to help me in different aspects of performing so I can sing and play guitar instead of singing and playing piano and stuff. And of course, all of these things are important to have in your life, but that's sort of what I'm focusing on right now.
Well, those two are great areas to focus on. And how about you, Bolu?
I completely agree. So for me personally, I feel like for passion and skill, that's like something that you can improve of over time. Like if you can constantly practice doing something, then you're obviously going to get better and your passion for it is most likely to grow. So I think connections is like the main thing, just because as Kaya said, not only is like building connections good for you because, you're getting to meet new people that can also help you advance in your career or your passion or whatever you do. But I think it's also great because then you're connecting with different people, getting to know different people. And it's like you have this relationship with people, and especially people who are in the same industry as you, like the same thing as you. It's like you're able to connect and, talk on a different level. So I think connections is like the most important, and then passion, because if you don't have a passion for the thing you do, then there's like no point in doing it. So
Yeah, that is a great view on it, and those two are great paths to focus on. And for the next question that I have is, what would your advice be to youth out there, and of course in this event listening, to adventure and be okay with stepping out their comfort zone and doing something fun but different? And Bolu, you can go first.
I would say what Nike always says, which is just do it. Because like I feel like, you know, it takes a lot sometimes to go out and do what you really want to do because, as you mentioned, imposter syndrome and just having a low confidence level or whatever it is that you personally struggle with. But I think if you just keep thinking, I really want to do this thing, but I'm scared of this, that, or I'm scared of people talking. There's always going to be people talking. There's always going to be a negative side, but it's important to focus on, what you love and why you want to do it. And just remember that throughout your career, throughout whatever you're trying to start, you could be someone that someone younger looks back and is like, oh, that person inspired my life. They made me want to do this and that. So just do whatever you want to do. And don't let anything get to you too hard.
That is some great advice and makes a lot of sense. And how about you, Kaya?
First of all, Blue, amazing, amazing advice. I completely agree with everything you said. And, I think my piece of advice I mean, that's really helped me personally is a quote that, answers so many questions of doubt and fear when you're pursuing a passion, and that's be fearless in pursuit of what sets your soul on fire by Jennifer Lee. And, this kind of means to just jump in with 2 feet and not be afraid to just chase your dreams and do what you love. As hard as it is, like Bolu said, with imposter syndrome and lack of confidence, but you're better off than letting the negativity,
Yeah, I totally agree with what she's saying. Like, not letting the negativity eat you up, because it can be pretty daunting. And I think, it's good to follow your dream.
Yeah, that is really good advice from both of you and some really nice pointers from you. Of course, Kaya, that was really good. And for my next question that I have is, what is the most interesting or useful piece of information or advice you've picked up on that's really helped you in your passion or in other areas of your life?
Okay, I think specifically in my passion, the one that's helped me the most is to stand your ground. And the reason I say that, I think, I don't even know where it comes from, but there's like always been like growing up, you just think sometimes like, oh, like you let people walk all over you sometimes, then you let people push you over, but it's important to stand up for what you believe in, stand up for what you love. And for me, for music, when I first came into music, recording and everything. So, obviously I had my ideas on sound, how I wanted to sound, and like the songs I wanted to write about, the things I wanted to write about. And so being in the industry, there's a lot of people that can like tell you, oh, no, I want you to write about this instead. And it's not what you want to write about, it's not what you're interested in. So it's important to just remember why you started what you started. And yeah, I think that's the most useful piece of advice because it allowed me not only to stand my ground, but to continue having a passion for what I love. And it even helps throughout life because, whenever someone tries to force you or push you or persuade you into doing something you don't want to do, then you can remind yourself that you're in charge.
Yeah, that's some really good advice that you picked up on. And yeah, I can really imagine that that would be helpful. And how about you, Kaya? What's the most interesting or useful piece of information or advice you picked up on and that's helped you in your passion and or other areas of your life?
That's a great question, Sophia. I've been very fortunate to have worked with experienced musicians who've been in the business for many years, who are in their 30s, like Brett Kissel. And I've picked up some really useful information over the years. And I think the first one is definitely to work hard. I usually practice a song 50 times before I feel confident that I know it, inside and out. Then if something happens on stage that's unexpected, you can get right back into the song. I was performing at Wickfest in 2020 in January where I was headlining and a balloon fell onto the stage and I had to whack it away and get right back into the song. But I would never have been able to do that if I didn't know the song. Like it was ingrained in my brain. Because talent gets you in the door, but hard work gets you in the room. And the second point, I guess, is just to tell the story of a song because music is this wonderful universal language that we can all connect to in a different way. And when you're purely just telling the story and conveying the message of a song, it's so powerful for the artist and for the audience as well.
Yeah, that is amazing information you picked up on. Yeah, if I didn't know some material inside and out, I would probably struggle sometimes with answering things and just picking up where I left off. And yeah, it's great advice from the both of you. And to go into the next and probably my favorite question that like ever existed is there a quote or person that really inspires you and why? And Bolu, how about you go first?
I think I'm going to choose a person this time, and that would be Jamie Grace because, she's the one who like inspired me to start music in general. And her story is really cool because, she was bullied when she was young and like music was this thing that got her through that. And she was able to, work through that and still do the things she loved. Like even though people were talking about, her music and how bad it was at school, she still stuck with it. And now she's like this amazing, influential person who's brought me to do what I do, which hopefully inspires other people. So it's kind of like this whirlpool of like inspiring other people. But I think she's like someone that really inspires me because she stuck with what she loves and she worked extremely hard.
You picked a really interesting and inspiring person. It's great that you decided to pick a person this time. It's really good. And how about you, Kaya?
Yeah, well, I mean, in terms of, you guys know how much we all love quotes here, and there are a ton of amazing quotes that are out there, but my all-time favorite quote is Our Deepest Fear by Marianne Williamson. I mean, it's more of a poem, but I just like to think of it as a giant quote. And it's sort of all about owning who you are and self-confidence, which is something that you can look back on when you're going through that imposter syndrome or rough patches in your self-esteem. And, it talks about the fact that when you allow your light to shine, you give others the permission to do the same, which is just that's amazing. And, in terms of people that are inspirational, I seem to find, a new person every single day that is really amazing. I mean, I was just reading today about a pilot who, she has no arms. She's the first pilot to fly with no arms at all, which is insane. And like musicians out there like Nina Simone, who faced so much back in her day, but she just kept going and she kept singing and inspired so many people, including myself. There's someone new every day that you can find that inspires you. So yeah, I guess that's what I have to say to answer that question.
Well, that is definitely a really neat and inspiring quote that you picked. It had a really great moral to it. And yeah, I absolutely agree with that. There are so many amazing and inspiring people out there. And it's really interesting that if you actually get asked the question directly, it's really hard for you to pick one. But if you're just thinking about it, there are really amazing people out there that are super inspiring and interesting. And with that, Bolu or Kaya, is there anything you'd like to add or quickly say before we end today's panel? And I just pass it over to Monica real quick.
I just want to thank... Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, Bulu. I'm so sorry.
No, it's totally fine. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I was just going to end with the quote that says, every day is a new day, or every day is a new day to do something better. And I think that's like something you can just keep in mind every single day, because every day brings its own challenges, its own trials. But if you just remember that tomorrow you can, do something different, do what you love, and, work on it and fix your mistakes, that's just something that really pushes you. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good thing. And how about you, Kai? What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to thank you again, Sophia, for being an amazing moderator as always, and Monica for having us today, and Bolu for being awesome and for including me in this. So just thank you, everyone. This has been so awesome, and I've picked up a lot of useful information from everybody.
Yeah, and yeah, Monica, is anything you like to say or ask before we end today's panel?
So I just want to say you all inspire me so much. I just look at the knowledge. I always sit in the background, and let you take the stage and sit here and write notes and think about what wisdom that you guys are, sharing, like barriers, Kaya. The biggest barrier that you say that you have is yourself. Well, I don't think that there would be a person that could not raise their hand that hasn't been the truth for someone. And it doesn't matter what age you are, right? I just think that is something so profound. Baloo, and there's lots of fear that gets in the way. Just do it. And you know what? It sounds so easy to do. It's the hardest thing to do. But the more that we can encourage each other, and support each other and rally around and celebrate successes like you guys are all doing for each other, which I see over and over again, that's how we're truly going to drive change. Sophia, you did another beautiful job moderating, great discussion. And, I just want to say I'm so proud to have, you all part of the Youth Excellence and Ambassador Program, because we're going to make some change. We're going to really empower our youth to reach for their dreams and to really step into their leadership voices. Now, this is a Woman Driving Change panel, so my final question for each of you is, how are you going to drive that change, Sophia, to empower youth?
Well, I think that UWN is a huge stepping stone for that, giving me the chance to become part of this panel and the peer-to-peer jam and role model talks every month, just to spread that message out there. But also by myself, I can do it with, actually just recently, I finished up doing mayoral interviews, showing youth that it is possible, even when you're like the youth still and you're still under 18, you can still do things. All you have to do is have that faith and reach out to people and just do it. Like Bolin said, like it is hard to just do it, but once you do, it's amazing the outcomes that you get from it. And I also really am hoping that I can get onto more platforms and start speaking and just show myself and how many amazing youth are out there that are just doing amazing things. That's really how I want to make sure that youth know that they can do what they're interested in, and that all they have to do is find the knowledge, a mentor or somebody with experience to help raise them up and really find what they're interested in and going out and doing it.
Bravo. And I think that was said over and over again today, was work hard and practice. Be prepared, right? And you, all three of you demonstrate that. But the more we can talk about that, the better we can help lift each other up. So thank you so much, Sophia. Baloo, how are you going to drive change for our youth? I get all excited when I see the knowledge here that you guys share. How are you going to drive that change for youth?
I think my biggest thing right now is, as Sophia mentioned, being in this panel is a huge way to drive youth because, people see this, they're inspired by this, and, the youth is driven to make a change as well. But also, like in my personal life, I think for me personally, the thing I love the biggest, or the way I drive change the most, is through music and, reposting. Because I think the power of reposting, if you see something going on that you don't like, then you're able to share it and, show your point of view and the right way of doing things. So I think it's just important to stand up, as Sophia said, for what you believe in. And yeah, that's my way of driving change.
Beautiful. And Kaya, how are you going to be driving change?
Well, as Sophia and Bolo so beautifully mentioned, this peer-to-peer panel is a ginormous, amazing way to spread awareness for youth empowerment. I'm so grateful to be a part of this. But on my own, I think one thing to help empower youth is actually this benefit concert that I'm putting on in November. We have a new date for it. It was supposed to happen in May, and then it was canceled in terms of because of new COVID restrictions. But two of the three charities we're bringing in actually support youth, one of which is a school in Edmonton that helps kids with learning disabilities, and the other is Haley Wickenheiser's charity to help girls develop life skills through the game of hockey, and their ages, 8 to 18. So it's absolutely amazing. And the third charity, A Sound Life in Australia, using meditation, yoga, and music, go into senior care facilities, hospitals. But what I love the most is they go into children's hospitals and they spread love and light there. So I think what I'm doing to empower change in terms of youth is this concert coming up in November called Kaya Live that I'm super excited for. So if you do want to watch it, then you can go to kayalive.com. But so I guess the peer-to-peer panel and the show as well is how I can drive change in my community.
Well, bravo. I, look forward to the journey ahead with each and every one of you. And of course, for those that want to check out your stories and your words of inspiration, they can get a copy of the Women Driving Change book. And super exciting to see your stories, and they're mixed with some amazing role models and their stories of leadership. And of course, continue the journey watching our peer-to-peer jams and role model talks. Of course, Sophia is going to be leading the moderating and enjoying the conversation with the three of you. And we look forward to welcoming more youth to share their voice. So thank you again, ladies, for being a part, and we look forward to driving change for youth.